Do you guys remember Manhunt, a game that faced so much controversy from Rockstar Games and at the time, guys, was incredibly graphic in a number of ways. But what do you guys think happened to Manhunt? That's going to be the talk of this segment of the show. And I wanted to talk about it and kind of take reference to an article from SVG from John Saavedra, who wrote an article talking about why Manhunt 3 will never happen. So what happened to Manhunt, guys? That's the question here. Let's talk about it. So the early 2000s was a golden age for Rockstar Games. In 2001, Rockstar put out Grand Theft Auto 3, which at the time was hailed as Rockstar's greatest achievement by IGN. That same year, Rockstar published Remedy Entertainment's Max Payne for consoles. It was another critical success that further solidified Rockstar as a major player in the video game industry. With the success of both of these titles, Rockstar did what most entertainment companies would do: greenlight and release sequels. The publisher cranked out GTA Vice City and Max Payne 2, The Fall of Max Payne in 2002 and 2003. But while Rockstar was busy building up two of its biggest franchises, it was also working on another project, one that was far more controversial and gruesome than the stylized ultra-violence of GTA and Max Payne, that being Manhunt. Developed by Grand Theft Auto studio Rockstar North, Manhunt was released in 2003, a game about a convict trapped in a twisted director's snuff film. Manhunt sent shockwaves through the mainstream almost immediately, sparking renewed conversations over video game violence, and it was even the subject of proposed legislation in U.S. Congress to fine those who sold adult-themed games to players younger than 17. Today, the game is lauded by some as a visceral examination of violence in media. Some even regard Manhunt as one of the GTA studio's very best. But this re-examination probably isn't enough to set Rockstar to work on Manhunt 3. So really quick, guys, I mean, look, this is a couple of games that were made that faced a ton of controversy with of course, within Rockstar. And this is actually, I believe, part of the reason why Rockstar kind of went in this direction of accepting controversy and wanting controversy. And the reason is because, number one, is with controversy comes views. It also comes a lot of talk and a lot of conversation about those things, and people thinking, there's going to be people who absolutely bash, Manhunt, or at the time bashed it. But then we're also those same people who were playing the game or trying it, and it got other people's interest as well. And so what Rockstar does now in their games, they always usually have some kind of controversy or another, whether it's GTA, whether it's Red Dead Redemption, whatever game it might be, they try to have a little bit of some controversy to kind of like sprinkle in there to get people talking. Rockstar had a very difficult time releasing Manhunt 2 in 2007. The studio hit a wall due to the sequel's extreme violence, which prompted the ESRB to give it an AO rating, making it difficult to sell the game in stores or publish it on any platforms. In order to receive an M rating, Rockstar had to go back and censor the game. Project Manhunt, a website devoted to the series, has chronicled all the different ways Manhunt 2 was censored before its release. Major changes include blurring out execution scenes so that the violence was only insinuated but not actually seen. Certain ways to execute enemies in the game were removed, including several ways to decapitate players, as well as the use of pliers to castrate NPCs and perform other gruesome mutilations. Even after Rockstar cut down on the game's most extreme forms of violence, it still had a really hard time publishing the game in the UK, where the title was banned until a year after its US release. To make matters worse, just days after the US release, hackers were able to remove the blurring effect from executions, reinstating Rockstar's original gory vision. Just a month after the US release, a group of senators that included Hillary Clinton also sent a letter to the ESRB asking the ratings board to reinstate the game's AO rating. The point is that Manhunt 2 caused so much trouble for Rockstar that it's unlikely the company would ever revisit the series. So, sure, it caused a lot of issues, right? But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if Rockstar went back to Manhunt at some point in the future. Obviously, we think right now GTA 6 is what is what Rockstar's working on, and then maybe a Max Payne 4, LA Noire 2, obviously Red Dead Redemption 3, Bully 2 potentially. What's to say that they wouldn't work on something a little bit smarter like a Manhunt 3? It wouldn't surprise me, and it would just create so much buzz, especially in our day and age with social media. It could be, something that really would be trending for a while. The cuts made to Manhunt 2 might have helped its troubled release, but they didn't earn the game a warm reception. The game currently holds a 67 out of 100 on review aggregate site Metacritic, signifying mixed or average reviews. So the question is why bother? Rockstar isn't a company generally known for compromising its vision in order to please a wider audience of gamers or their parents. The company's output since 2001 has usually targeted adults, from the cold-blooded open-world Western Red Dead Redemption to all the Grand Theft Auto games with their street-level shootouts, frequent trips to strip clubs, and other indulgences usually credited to movie gangsters. That's what makes the Manhunt 2 controversy all the more remarkable. Rockstar, unable to convince the ESRB to award the game with an M rating, saw itself forced to censor Manhunt 2, therefore straying from its violent original vision. Rockstar had to delay the game from its original July 2007 release date to October to accommodate the additional work needed to earn an M rating. Judging from the fact that Rockstar hasn't rushed to make another Manhunt game in recent years, the company has probably recognized that it can make and save a lot more money sticking to the parameters of an M rating. And of course, massive success, guys, with GTA 5, Red Dead Redemption 2, just kind of shows that Rockstar, it may not be necessary for them to make another Manhunt. And the same can be said, there's been rumor that they're not even working on a Bully 2, which was a game that was talked about quite a bit, is maybe they're trying to stay away from that kind of controversy. They want to stick with the things that are making them the most money. That being Red Dead Redemption, Grand Theft Auto, maybe even Max Payne, and then of course Red Dead Online and GTA Online. Those online services, it's just, it seems to me that they really might be moving in that direction. While Grand Theft Auto 3's open world approach was still rare in 2001, open world titles are much more the norm in 2018. There are plenty more open world titles to choose from on current gen consoles than there ever were in the days of the PlayStation 2, which still leaned heavily on linear experiences, including Manhunt. Manhunt's story is comprised of levels called scenes, each of which must be completed in order to progress to the next, not leaving much room for the game's protagonist to stray from the designated path. According to at least one publisher, EA, this linear approach just isn't as popular with gamers anymore. Now, obviously, we've seen that some games have come back and really made that linear experience more of something, of conversation. We can, look at games like God of War and Spider-Man, and, a lot of these games don't have a multiplayer, don't have co-op modes. It's only a single-player experience. And so Manhunt could very well do all right, but obviously there would be a number of probably controversial things about this game, or they would certainly be looking for something to make it somewhat controversial. While it's true that not all publishers necessarily agree with EA's opinion, there's no denying that the industry has seen a shift from linear to open world games in the last few years. For that matter, Rockstar hasn't released a linear title since 2012's Max Payne 3. With the massive success of Grand Theft Auto 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2, both open world experiences, the company might see no reason to make another linear game. Now, most Rockstar employees, they didn't want to work on Manhunt, and Rockstar doesn't put studios on smaller projects anymore either. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but I think that there's, it's one of those things that, they probably are looking more at Red Dead Online, GTA Online, and that's kind of the end of that. Now, Rockstar doesn't need to work on less popular franchises. I think that this is kind of true, even though I don't think that having a small team work on a Manhunt 3 would be a bad move on their part, but it's hard to say. Now, as I was saying about live services over these linear games, Part of GTA 5's massive success undoubtedly has something to do with the GTA Online's ability to entice players to spend more money on the multiplayer even after they finish the game's long story mode. The success of GTA Online's recurrent consumer spending business model, as Take-Two Interactive CEO Strauss Zelnick calls it, has made way for a new strategy at Rockstar, which unsurprisingly announced Red Dead Online earlier in 2018. According to Zelnick, Take-Two, which is Rockstar's parent company, wants to put recurrent consumer spending options, which would be like microtransactions, things of that nature, into its games. We aim to have recurrent consumer spending options for every title that we put out at this company. So, but here's the thing. I just think that, okay, sure, you have live services and stuff like that. They could obviously do that with Manhunt. Maybe be a little bit harder because of all of the, negativity around those first two games. There's a good chance, guys, that Rockstar will not move back in the Manhunt series. So if you're a huge Manhunt fan, it's kind of hard to see if they're going to really do it again. But I wouldn't be surprised if they decided to come back and give it another try and, kind of bring a bunch of controversy to the world once again. While the Manhunt concept, that of a man trying to survive a gauntlet of killers in order to be the last man standing, was more of a rarity in 2003, that's not really the case anymore. Battle Royale and survival games have taken up that concept and added more complexity and online multiplayer to it. The popular PUBG Battlegrounds, for example, drops 100 players on a map with no weapons or equipment. The player's mission is simple: kill every other player in the game by any means necessary until you're the last man standing. That, in essence, was the story of Manhunt. As James Earl Cash made his way through the twisted world of director Lionel Starkweather's snuff film, fashioning anything he could find into a murder weapon. So, to be honest, guys, Manhunt as a battle royale or as, some kind of just multiplayer experience would actually considerably do really well if Rockstar decided to do that. It's hard to say if they would really do that or if they would do something else within Manhunt, like if they would actually do a linear experience. I have a feeling that if they did the linear experience, they would always, of course, do multiplayer as well. So it might be their title for Battle Royale, so to speak, because Rockstar obviously doesn't do that at this point. But I think what happened to Manhunt, guys, was ultimately just the controversies around this series, and it was just, they had a lot of issues as well, and so this is a game that's been in just a dark place. It's really just been kind of probably on the back burner. Rockstar's probably thought at certain times to maybe we should bring the game or the franchise back. But I think it looks like, especially with the success of GTA Online and Red Dead Online, that's starting to look like almost a distant memory to them, and they're just going to be focusing on those games in the future. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know in the comment section below. Would you guys want to see another Manhunt game come out? And what do you guys think that would look like? Let me know in the comment section below. And for future and all Manhunt 3 based content, stay right here with Zero TV.